Kansas City. I'm running for the 6th congressional district. A little about me: I left high school, went in the Army, was in the Army when the Berlin Wall fell. I was in Germany. Spent time in the first Gulf War. Got out. For the last 22 years, I've been an educator, either a classroom teacher, a building administrator, a football coach, or wrestling coach. I'm also a game official with the Missouri State High School Activities Association. Father of 4, grandfather to 5, getting ready to be 6, and that's it in a nutshell. 2016 was a shocking time for all of us. I was reminded of the words of President Obama as he was leaving office. He basically challenged us all. He said, if you don't like what you see, get involved. Get involved with an organization that you can get behind and help them be successful. If you don't like the politics, get behind a campaign that you can help. Do something to help. And if you're still not satisfied, run. And so I, heeding that advice, I jumped on board. It's a shame when good people sit by and do nothing when bad things are happening.
Right.
Then we're just as culpable for those bad things happening as the people doing the bad things.
So, I mean, we do see that this is probably the most important election. I think this election is, it's almost like it's hard to decide which one's more important, 2020 or 2022. They're exactly equally scary, I think.
Yes, because for right now, as we're witnessing, our Republican colleagues are going forward and they have control of a lot of state houses, and they're going forward with gerrymandered maps because this is the first time without Section 5 intact of the Voting Rights Act. So those states that used to have pre-clearance for their districts, they no longer have to have pre-clearance, and Texas is letting you know straight up front. 95% of their population growth was Black and Hispanic, and they were able to actually take those 2 seats away that they just got, and I think they took a 3rd one, and I think that's why the DOJ has challenged their redistricting in court. So, and it's brazen across the board. Here in Missouri, the Secretary of State actually made a call for, he wants to see 7-1. He wants to go after Emanuel Cleaver's district as well.
So do you think, let's say worst case scenario, and all these various states get all these Republicans to be in charge of that, do you not think that there's still a way to win by such a margin that all that effort gets just an effort in futility? I mean, is there no, so in other words, if the Republicans get away with what they're doing, there's no reason to vote. Whereas especially if they do that, it's that much more of a reason to vote and act up and act crazy and do whatever we have to do.
Yes. Right now, we are at a critical mass. And if people sit at home, one of the things I hear from the media all the time is it's going to be a bloodbath for Democrats, blah, 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 blah. Well, I will remind them that they were the prognosticators that said Democrats were going to slaughter Republicans in the 2020 election. And in the 2020 election, the Democrats did not make very much headway. We end up with the pretty even split, which is what it looks a little bit more like America, 51-49, which is about where we are. Yes, the Republicans brought in more seats than they probably should have because of gerrymandering. But at the same time, I believe that if Democrats like myself can get out and get exposure and see the people in the districts and get our messages out, I do believe that we can pull those Republican votes, or at the very least, those swing votes.
So what are the 3 top things that you're running on?
Well, as I said, one is healthcare. The second one is justice. Justice should be blind. Justice should be fair under the law. And everyone should receive equal justice under the law, and no one should be exempt from the law. Right now, we're seeing attempts by the former president to avoid accountability, and he keeps getting kicked down the road. He's trying to run out the clock, and if he can run out the clock, then he's hoping that by the time we get around to next year's election, that the folks that are paying attention will stop paying attention, and when they stop paying attention, you know, say the Republicans do win back the majority in the House, they know that they won't hold the former president accountable, and then they'll usher in another era of the former president, and he will be looking to really cement his legacy at that point. And I am fearful for our democracy right now, and that's our third pillar. Our third pillar is democracy. Democrats have been focusing on the up ballot races. Democrat donors have been focused on up ballot races. So they've been funding Senate campaigns, statewide offices. They've been funding all of those. And then meanwhile, you have guys like me who are running really good races and honest races, and we're viable candidates if we can boost our name recognition. But in order to boost name recognition, you got to have money.
Right.
It was one of the funniest things that we had in the entire so far. We actually put in for a $500 ad run with an internet company, and it was turned back. And I was like, whoa, really? They turned it back. Now there may be other reasons for that too, but we were shocked that they turned back a $500 ad, because I'm like, well, why would you turn back $500?
Well, what did they say, like, we don't want to do political ads?
No. All they do is they tell you that we're not running this ad, or they just don't run the ad, and you're never charged. You're never.
And are other people in your area that you might know are they running ads on that same platform?
Oh, I don't know. I just know what our spending budget is, and I know what we've tried to spend, and so we're gonna hold our water till after the first of the year. Then after the first of the year, we're gonna start flooding social media and whatnot.
Right.
And we'll see where we can go. Because
have you reached out to like Run for Something or No Dem Left Behind, those kind of organizations that help down ballot races?
We have talked to, we've gone as high as, we've talked to a couple of folks that are already in the House, very senior folks that are in the House. On one side, we got your race isn't even on our radar, and on the other side, we got we'll be watching your race. Get in contact with us later, because your race is exactly the kind of race that we believe that we can win. So it's a contrast in the school of thought within the Democratic Party itself. Yes, we are going to have a financial disadvantage across the board in all of our races.
And what about, have you been going to the churches and following the Stacey Abrams blueprint for
we do
networking and whatnot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do visit. I have visited all 36 counties before. Yes. And we will visit all 36 counties again. We are going to, after the first of the year, the calendar starts to fill up with visits to various places within the district, and we'll hammer home the message.
I'm telling you, you need to stay as close to whatever good news comes out of the White House and the Build Back, and not the Build Back Better, because that thing is not going anywhere. The infrastructure plan and voting rights. And I believe that those are the only two things that anyone that's running for anything needs to talk about. Was all the other stuff like women's rights and choose and all that, that's not That's not your battle. You know what I mean? That is in the hands of the Supreme Court and women. That is, as much as I want the best outcome there, it's just not what your constituents need to hear you talking about. I just don't think that that's it.
Yeah. So just so you know, we are having an official campaign launch on January 6th. We are going to remember that time. We're going to make sure that the people that attend remember that time.
Awesome.
And we are going to make it, it is going to be a focal point of our campaign, of this campaign.
Live, or is it on internet? A live event?
Is it, it's going to be a live event. We're going to the ACA club. And if we get things set up, we may do a Facebook Live post with it, so that it does permeate and it gets through the internet verse, so that we can make an impact, because our early polling data does show that the insurrection is a big deal with the voters in the 6th district.
Great.
So I think that there are a lot of moderate voters here in Missouri that may not have voted in the presidential campaign or in the House campaign last time, that will wake up and say, you know what, enough is enough.